When we're stressed, we're often told to think of gentle waves softly washing up against a beach. When we struggle to sleep, we might listen to calming ocean sounds. But the waters of the world aren't always calm and peaceful. Sometimes they can be truly terrifying. These are the most dangerous waters in the world. Number 15. Russia's Lake Karachay. Lakeside retreats can be an expensive business, but you can pick them up for a bargain if you look hard enough. In fact, there is a villa within spitting distance of Russia's beautiful Lake Karachay so cheap you can buy it for cash. As with anything that sounds too good to be true, there is more to this bargain than meets the eye. See, the catch here is that standing on the shore for little more than an hour will kill you. Considered one of the most polluted places on Earth, the lake was once a dumping ground for some of the Soviet Union's biggest nuclear weapons. This beautiful lake is now completely contaminated with radioactive waste. The nearby Ptoac River was also severely contaminated. Several villages who relied on the river for water were struck down with radiation sickness. However, they were all sworn to secrecy and their notes classified until the early 1990s. It was only in 1992, after President Boris Yeltsin signed a decree to allow Western scientists access, that the area was declared the planet's most polluted. Today, Lake Karachay's surface is now more concrete than water, a real shame given its obvious beauty and previous popularity as a watering hole for the masses. Number 14. Bering Sea. There's no question that fishermen are a tough bunch, working in some of the harshest conditions the environment can throw at them. The Bering Sea is one example. A natural wonder, this ocean paradise can turn on the charm at the touch of a button. Can also be equally as dangerous. Located near the chain of the Aleutian Islands, the Bering Sea is where humans and nature collide. Classed as one of the most intense patches of ocean on the planet, these waters are home to strong winds and below-freezing temperatures. Ferocious waves and icy cold water make conditions even more treacherous for the fishermen, particularly during the winter months. Fall into the water and the likelihood of survival is greatly reduced. Pair the ferocious waves of water that can rise and fall up to 30 feet on a normal day with the bitterly cold water, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Not only that, some of the creatures below the waves are so terrifying the very thought of it will make your toes curl. Number 13. Bermuda Triangle. Unexplained disappearances linked to extraterrestrial activity have had humans questioning the existence of the Bermuda Triangle for several decades. Many ships, planes, and even people have allegedly vanished under mysterious circumstances in the same location. Located in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean, the area was named the Bermuda Triangle. Still merely a myth, it is said to suck objects into other dimensions where extraterrestrials take humans to study. The scientists, however, have other explanations, including oceanic flatulence, disruptions in geomagnetic lines, and rapid, sometimes violent changes in weather conditions that have been known to claim many ships. The U.S. Navy and U.S. Coast Guard contend that there are no supernatural explanations for disasters at sea. The ocean has always been a mysterious place to humans, and when foul weather or poor navigation is involved, the combination can be deadly. There is, however, no evidence that mysterious disappearances are more frequent in the Bermuda Triangle than in any other large, well-traveled stretch of water in the world. Number 12. Jacob's Well. On a scorching hot summer day, nothing beats the cool depths of a local watering hole, but it pays to be careful when choosing a destination for diving. A natural wonder in Texas, where many come to chill out during the warmer months, Jacob's Well is also classed as one of the most dangerous diving spots in the world. A label like this doesn't come easily, so what makes this place so unsafe? The refreshing and beautiful spring has temperatures of around 68 degrees Fahrenheit all year round. But it's not just the heat-stricken that visit Jacob's Well. Below the surface is an intricate cave system. Most visitors to Jacob's Well prefer to lounge around the edge, relaxing in the cold, clear water. Others leap into the well, with daredevils among them free diving, some as deep as 100 feet, maneuvering the thin openings into the underwater cave. Although it sounds like a lot of fun, exploring the caves is an adventure kept for licensed scuba divers only. Those who dare explore the depths without the skills required could end up losing their lives. Many divers have been trapped below the surface and died, earning the well the reputation of being one of the most dangerous places to dive. Number 11. Blue Lagoon of Buckton. Not unlike a scene from The Creature of the Black Lagoon, a 1954 animated black and white 3D monster horror film, this Blue Lagoon in Buckton is filled with creatures of a different kind. A former quarry, it was flooded, creating the perfect swimming hole. With turquoise water that turned green as limestone rocks leach calcite crystals into it, it was simply too alluring for residents and visitors to resist. Despite its toxic nature, the lagoon became a popular spot for Instagram photos, with people flocking to capture its seemingly idyllic beauty. Local authorities have repeatedly tried to warn the public about the dangers, but the lagoon's picturesque appearance continues to draw crowds. Some swimmers have reported feeling ill after taking a dip, experiencing symptoms like rashes, nausea, and even respiratory issues. Environmental experts have expressed concern over the long-term effects of exposure to the lagoon's polluted waters, particularly for children who are more vulnerable to its hazards. Efforts to clean up the lagoon have been discussed, but the sheer volume of waste and the high costs involved make it a daunting task. The town's decision to dye the water black was a desperate attempt to make it less appealing, but even that hasn't deterred thrill-seekers. A toxic soup filled with cars, animal carcasses, and trash, this beautifully deceiving lagoon is effectively used as a dumping ground. This fact hasn't put people off swimming there, however, so the town dyed it black to put them off. When that didn't work, signs were erected warning swimmers to stay clear. Now, if you saw signs saying, "Warning, polluted water, car wrecks, dead animals, excrement, rubbish," would you still be keen to jump into the lagoon for a quick dip? I know I wouldn't. Worse still, because of the rubbish dumped there, its pH levels are 11.3, almost the same as a bottle of bleach. Fancy skin and eye irritations, stomach problems, or perhaps a fungal infection. Well, this lagoon can help you out with all of that. Just jump on in and hold your breath. You're likely in for a nasty surprise. Number 10. The Berkeley Pit. Labeled the most contaminated body of water in the United States, the Berkeley Pit in Montana finally received a much-needed makeover early last year. For the first time in 37 years, the Berkeley Pit was unable to collect water, but instead, 3 million gallons per day were pumped out and treated. Mining company Montana Resources allowed the water to run through the mine's new wastewater treatment system, stripping it of metal and chemical residue. The water in the pit, which is highly acidic and filled with toxic heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, and copper, has long been a major environmental concern. The pit's contamination is a result of decades of mining activity, with groundwater seeping into the abandoned mine and mixing with leftover chemicals. The treatment process involves neutralizing the acidity of the water and removing harmful metals, which are then safely disposed of or recycled. Local residents have expressed cautious optimism about the project, as the pit has been a symbol of environmental degradation for decades. Wildlife advocates are particularly hopeful, as the toxic water has been known to kill birds that land on its surface, including entire flocks of snow geese in the past. The new system includes deterrents like noise cannons and drones to prevent birds from landing on the water while the cleanup continues. Scientists are also monitoring the long-term effects of the treatment process to ensure that the surrounding ecosystem is not further impacted. The pit, which was effectively a 900-foot hole in the ground, is said to hold about 45 billion gallons of water. The entire system wasn't completely operational, so pumping and treating stopped around the end of May and was expected to resume in July. Despite delays, the project is still 4 years ahead of schedule, with the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, requesting the pumping and treatment of water to start by 2023. Once construction is completed, the water will be treated to the standard needed to release it into Silver Bow Creek. All equipment and pipelines will be tested, and the results given to the EPA will need to approve the release. Now it's time for today's topic. Known for its treacherous reputation, the waters off this beach, dubbed one of the world's most dangerous, have become the center of chilling shark encounters. Over the past few months, shark sightings have surged, with swimmers and surfers reporting close calls with massive predators lurking just beneath the surface. Recently, a group of beachgoers claimed to have photographed an unusually massive shark while enjoying the shoreline. The image, now circulating online, shows a shadowy figure in the water, far larger than any known shark species typically found in the area. Witnesses described the creature as monstrous, with a dorsal fin that towered above the waves. While some experts suggest the sightings could be of oversized great whites or tiger sharks, others believe the waters may harbor an undiscovered species or even a relic from prehistoric times. The beach's dangerous reputation has only fueled speculation, with locals warning visitors to stay out of the water. Whether it's a case of mistaken identity or something far more extraordinary, the sightings have left many questioning what truly lurks in these perilous waters. For now, the beach remains a hotspot for mystery, fear, and fascination, drawing thrill-seekers and skeptics alike. Number 9. Ptoac River. An intriguing stretch of water surrounded by harsh rock faces, the Ptoac River Gorge and the Great Falls of the Potomac are a thrill-seeker's paradise. Unfortunately, it takes a true daredevil to even survive the raging rapids here. It looks like the perfect destination for canoeists and whitewater rafting enthusiasts, but nothing could be further from the truth. Situated in the eastern U.S., just outside the nation's capital, the gorge has become increasingly popular over the years. This is a real concern for the U.S. National Park Service, NPS, who have issued a dire warning for those entering the water. Their very pointed message, "If you enter the river, you will die," seems to have fallen on deaf ears, with the gorge claiming 6 lives in 2009. The skills required to navigate parts of the river and the falls vary greatly, with even first responders put in great danger when their services are required. Considered one of the deadliest stretches of whitewater on the eastern border, the Ptoac River Gorge makes up a whopping 14 miles of the Ptoac River. With cascading rapids and several 20-foot waterfalls, the falls are both spectacular and dramatic. A popular site with residents and tourists from throughout the world, the Great Falls of the Ptoac River holds plenty of hazards for the unwary or unprepared. In fact, entering these waters, minus the exceptional skills required to navigate them, is very unwise. The water may appear calm, but the currents are very deceiving. Number 8. World's dirtiest river, Satarum. If you're not big on germs and don't like getting your hands dirty, it might be a good idea to avoid this river in West Java, Indonesia. Classed as the world's dirtiest river, the cleanup of the Satarum has now become a military operation. Yeah, it's that bad. The military have been called in to help. And with a timeline of up to 5 years, it's easy to see why the heavy artillery had to be called upon. Critics of President Joko Widodo, who launched the cleanup campaign, believe it was more a publicity stunt than an ecological decision. However, the huge task has provided many jobs and helped to drive down pollution in the area. West Java is the heartland of Indonesian manufacturing and industrial zones, with the Ministry of Industry Indonesia believing the area is responsible for more than 14% of the Southeast Asian nation's gross domestic product. This cheap and plentiful water is key to the area's rapid growth, with some 2,800 factories relying on the Satarum for their water supply and disposal of wastewater. Factories are required to clean up their wastewater before flushing it back into the water. However, minimal enforcement of the law has led to the dumping of toxic and hazardous chemicals into both the Satarum and adjoining canals, effectively turning the water into a toxic dump. Until the cleanup is completed, residents will continue to encounter the heavily polluted water, a task that leaves them with nasty rashes. No surprises there, given the toxicity levels in the river. According to Professor Eddie Rani from the Department of Water Resources Management, the news isn't all bad, as you can still eat the fish, just not too often. I don't know about you, but the thought of eating fish from this river doesn't really appeal. Number 7. Lake Natron. Calcified corpses perfectly preserved on the shoreline of Lake Natron in Tanzania proved inspirational for photographer Nick Brandt. Facing an eerie sight of birds lying on the earth as still and stiff as statues, Brandt knew he was onto a winner for his new photo book, Across the Ravaged Land. A variety of birds and bats that had met their untimely demise at the hands of the deadly waters beneath them are brought to life in the third and final volume in Brandt's trilogy of books documenting the disappearing natural world and animals of East Africa. The lake's unique chemical composition, with its high levels of sodium carbonate and other minerals, is what causes the calcification of animals that come into contact with its waters. When birds or bats fall into the lake, the minerals in the water coat their bodies, preserving them in a hauntingly lifelike state. The stark contrast between the lake's deadly properties and its stunning beauty has made it a subject of fascination for scientists and artists alike. Despite its harsh conditions, the lake plays a vital role in the ecosystem, serving as a safe haven for the lesser flamingo, which nests on its isolated shores. The flamingos are uniquely adapted to the lake's extreme environment, feeding on the algae that thrive in its alkaline waters. However, conservationists warn that the lake's delicate balance is under threat from human activity, including plans to build a soda ash plant nearby. Such developments could disrupt the fragile ecosystem and endanger the flamingo population that depends on the lake for survival. With the exact cause of their death unknown, Brandt believes their preservation is likely due to the extremely high soda and salt content, a content so high it stripped the ink off his film boxes in a matter of seconds. The water is blood red from the bacteria that live in it, but the area serves as a breeding ground for the endangered lesser flamingo. An odd combination considering Lake Natron is considered inhospitable to life. The salt lake is also steaming hot, with temperatures reaching up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This lake truly is too hot to handle. Number 6. The Boiling Lake, Dominica. With a name like Boiling Lake, there are no surprises why this stretch of water located on the Caribbean island of Dominica would make the list of most dangerous waters in the world. Simply a hole in the Earth's crust, the bubbling body of water has been flooded by rainfall over the years. Fed by two small streams, the lake is heated by underwater lava and gases from the nearby volcano. The constant bubbling and churning of the water create an eerie, otherworldly atmosphere that has fascinated visitors for centuries. Scientists believe the lake's extreme heat is caused by superheated steam and volcanic gases escaping from deep within the Earth's crust. The temperature of the water varies depending on volcanic activity, and there have been instances where the lake has temporarily drained, only to refill and begin boiling again. Locals often share stories of the lake's unpredictable nature, warning hikers to stay on designated trails to avoid the risk of falling into the scalding water. The surrounding area is also dotted with fumaroles and hot springs, further emphasizing the volcanic activity beneath the surface. Despite its dangers, the boiling lake remains a popular destination for adventurous travelers, drawn by its unique beauty and the challenge of the hike. Guides are highly recommended for those attempting the trek, as the terrain can be treacherous and the weather unpredictable. With temperatures reaching up to 197 degrees Fahrenheit, even a brief encounter with this boiling lake would prove fatal. A spectacular sight, the lake is a popular destination for hikers who can view the lake actively boiling. A hike of several hours will have you enjoying the natural wonder said to be the second largest boiling lake on the planet, measuring 200 feet across. It comes as no surprise that a cloud of vapors can be seen hovering above the lake, not unlike that of a boiling bath. The lake is thought to exceed 200 feet in depth depending on rainfall levels in the area. Not that anyone will be hopping in to confirm this fact anytime soon, and there's no surprise why. Number 5. Yorkshire. An innocent-looking river in Yorkshire hides a nasty secret, one that'll have you questioning whether to enter its depths. It has the grim label of a 100% fatality rate. A lovely spot for a picnic or walk, the river wharf in Yorkshire narrows at a point called the Strid near Bolton Abbey. Many have jumped across it, but those who fall never make it, as the river turns on its side, gouging out passages and tunnels. The Strid's deceptive appearance is what makes it so deadly. It looks like a shallow, narrow stream, but beneath the surface lies a labyrinth of deep, fast-moving water channels. The riverbed is uneven and filled with jagged rocks, creating powerful undercurrents that can drag even the strongest swimmers into its depths. Locals often warn visitors to stay far away from the edges, as the slippery rocks surrounding the Strid make it easy to lose your footing. The water's force is so immense that it can trap a person underwater within seconds, leaving no chance for escape. Over the years, the Strid has become infamous for its deadly reputation, with stories of people and even animals disappearing without a trace. Divers and rescue teams have repeatedly failed to recover bodies, as the river's complex network of underwater tunnels makes retrieval nearly impossible. Despite its dangers, the Strid continues to attract curious onlookers, drawn by its serene beauty and the eerie tales surrounding it. Some have called it one of the most dangerous stretches of water in the world, a silent killer hiding in plain sight. A mass of deadly currents, anyone that falls in is repeatedly thrashed against the rocks under the water. If the swimmer isn't pulverized by the rocks, vortices in the Strid's flow will trap their body under the water. It is literally a death trap. Though the river has claimed a lot of lives, it's not the grim statistics that make the Strid so dangerous. It's the fact that its threats lie beneath a calm and tempting surface. Beautiful but dangerous. Although tempting, it will kill you. Number 4. Great Blue Hole. The world's biggest ocean sinkhole, the Great Blue Hole off the coast of Belize, measures 1,000 feet across and over 400 feet deep. Once a limestone cave formed thousands of years ago, it was completely submerged at the end of the last ice age. Now a popular diving site, mysteries surrounded its internal structure until December last year, when an expedition led by submersible pilot Erica Bergman took place. Billionaire Richard Branson, sonar expert Martha Atherton, and Fabien Cousteau, legendary explorer Jacques Cousteau's grandson, joined Erica on her expedition to explore the bottom of the chasm. As they descended, the team marveled at the stark transition from vibrant marine life near the surface to the eerie stillness below the hydrogen sulfate layer. The sonar scans revealed intricate stalactites and stalagmites, remnants of the cave's time above sea level, offering a glimpse into Earth's ancient past. They also discovered evidence of past collapses within the sinkhole, which helped researchers better understand how these formations evolve over time. The team noted that the deeper they went, the more lifeless and alien the environment became, with the hydrogen sulfate layer acting as a barrier to all forms of life. The expedition also highlighted the importance of preserving such natural wonders, as the Great Blue Hole remains a fragile ecosystem despite its size and depth. The findings from the dive have sparked renewed interest in exploring other underwater sinkholes around the world, as they may hold similar secrets about Earth's history. Researchers released the first 3D maps of its interior and a mini-documentary about their findings. The dive shed new light on the ancient formation, describing what it was like dropping through the hydrogen sulfate layer beneath which there is no oxygen. Sea life will not pass through the layer that sits at a depth of 290 feet and covers the entire blue hole. With no oxygen, anything that falls into the hole is preserved, including humans. The team found the bodies of 2 divers who had been lost in the hole along with hundreds of marks where they had tried to escape and old scientific equipment and a GoPro with footage still intact. After notifying local authorities, the divers were left undisturbed to rest in peace for eternity. Number 3. Lake Kivu. When you think of explosions of deadly gas, you might be forgiven for imagining they're of the humankind. Unfortunately, when it comes to Africa's Lake Kivu, nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, humans are none too keen to hang around this lake, let alone break wind alongside it. Rather than enjoying the sound of the water lapping at your feet, you may witness a potential explosion of deadly gas instead. Yes, these lake waters located between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo are literally dripping in methane and carbon dioxide thanks to the area's volcanic activity. Scientists have classified Lake Kivu as a killer lake, similar to Lake Nyos in Cameroon, which released a deadly cloud of carbon dioxide in 1986, suffocating over 1,700 people. The gas buildup in Lake Kivu is even more significant, making it a ticking time bomb under the right conditions. The lake's unique stratification traps the gases at the bottom, but any major disturbance, such as a volcanic eruption or landslide, could trigger a catastrophic release. Such an event, known as a limnic eruption, would displace the gases, creating a deadly cloud that could suffocate millions of people living nearby. To mitigate this risk, engineers have developed systems to extract the methane safely, turning it into a valuable energy source for the region. This process not only reduces the risk of a gas explosion but also provides much-needed electricity to Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. However, experts warn that the extraction process must be carefully managed to avoid destabilizing the lake's delicate balance. And with 60 million cubic meters of the stuff, this lake is deadly. But rather than walk away with their heads in their hands, Rwanda is turning the giant reservoir of gas into a positive by funneling the methane into power plants. While it's all good for now, the presence of gas is still tremendously dangerous. A strong event like an earthquake could bring the methane and carbon dioxide bubbling to the surface like fizz in a shaken pop bottle. Not ideal for the 2 million people that live on the lake shore. Number 2. Hana Kapi Beach. When you're dreaming of holidaying on a tropical island, Hawaii is probably one destination that comes to mind. With images of its clear blue waters and tropical fish dancing through your head, you'd be forgiven for thinking the beaches here are anything but dangerous. But you'd be wrong. Listed as one of the most dangerous places to swim on the planet, Hana Kapi Beach in Hawaii is to be avoided. Don't be fooled by its peaceful coastline and idyllic setting. This beach is a killer. The danger lies in the powerful rip currents that lurk just beneath the surface, capable of pulling even the strongest swimmers far out to sea in a matter of seconds. Signs warning visitors of the deadly currents are posted along the beach, but many tourists still underestimate the risks. The lack of lifeguards and the remote location make it nearly impossible to get help in an emergency. Locals often share chilling stories of people who ignored the warnings, only to be swept away by the relentless currents. The waves here can also be deceptively large, crashing with enough force to knock people off their feet. Even experienced swimmers have found themselves struggling against the unrelenting pull of the ocean. Rescue attempts are rare and often dangerous, as the conditions make it difficult for even trained professionals to intervene. More than 80 people have drowned there, and with no visual cues of the danger lying under the waves, the risk is difficult to spot. Things are definitely deceiving here. For your own safety, you should avoid taking a quick dip at Hana Kapi Beach, no matter how tempting it looks. Number 1. New Smyrna. With a population estimate of 27,229 in 2018, New Smyrna Beach is a small city in Volusia County, Florida. Part of the city is located on the west side of the Indian River and the Indian Lagoon system, which links up with the Intracoastal Waterway just south of Ponce de Leon Inlet. Recognized as one of the world's top 20 surf towns in 2012, New Smyrna Beach offers many opportunities for outdoor recreation. Visitors participate in a range of water sports, including scuba diving, kite surfing, sailing, and good old-fashioned swimming. However, beneath the surface of its inviting waters lies a hidden danger that has earned the beach an infamous reputation. The warm, shallow waters of New Smyrna Beach are a perfect hunting ground for sharks, particularly blacktip and spinner sharks, which are common in the area. Experts believe the high number of shark bites is due to the sheer volume of people in the water combined with the sharks' natural feeding habits. Most bites are not fatal and are often cases of mistaken identity, with sharks mistaking surfers or swimmers for fish. Despite the risks, the beach remains a popular destination, with many visitors brushing off the danger as part of the thrill. Local authorities have implemented safety measures, such as increased signage and public awareness campaigns, but the allure of the waves continues to draw crowds. This is a surprising factor given that as well as being one of the world's top 20 surf towns, it also carries the grim record of having the most confirmed shark attacks of any other region in the world. If you weren't already aware, there is such a thing as an international shark attack file. This file is maintained by the University of Florida, and it states that in 2007, Volusia County, of which New Smyrna Beach is a city, gained the somewhat dubious distinction as the world's shark bite capital. Unfortunately, the trend has continued, with the town breaking its own record in 2008 with 24 shark bites. And in 2016, a shark bit 3 different surfers in the span of a few hours at the same beach. It might have been an idea to close the beach following the first attack, don't you think? An explosion of deadly gas, not the kind caused by humans, can send people fleeing for safety. When it's mixed with methane and carbon dioxide, it becomes extremely dangerous for humans, so it's best to stay away. The lake in Rwanda, affected by volcanic activity, should be avoided at all costs, but it's not the only waterway with a deadly curse. Also, check out the other cool things appearing on the screen right now. See you next time.